Welcome back to page 121. Today we're going to take a look at a monster out of Monster Manual 2 from 1983, the Aurumvorax. But first I'm going to show something interesting. If you followed my channel for a while, you know that back when I belonged to that club in the mid-80s, up through the mid-80s, I was one of the main DMs there, and we had a policy where you had to identify your books in some manner, put your name in the front cover or something, because there'd been a little bit of a problem with some theft of some of the DM's books. Well, I chose a Pegasus stamp, as you see right there. And here it is 40 years later, still showing strong. Well, I mentioned something about this to my wife the other day, and she said, "Oh, I know where that stamp is." And I kind of laughed, and I said, "Wow, okay, we still have it." And she pulled it out, and there it is. That's the stamp. The actual stamp that I used 40 years ago. I bought this in about 1982, and that's the stamp. The stamper that we used to put the stamp on our books. And then the policy of the club too was if you DM'd somebody, you would then take your stamp and you would stamp their sheets. For some reason, people were worried about players that got killed at my table going to somebody else's table. I really didn't care about that. I probably stamped a few, but I don't remember stamping many. And this says copyright 1979. So, kind of interesting. This is an old, late 70s Pegasus stamp. So there you have it. I bought it probably in 81 or 82. My wife knew right where it was. She was out of the room about 3 minutes and walked back in with it. I hadn't seen this stamp probably in 30 years. So there you have it. Just a little bit of personal trivia. And now on to the monster at hand, the Aurumvorax. I like this guy a bunch. He's one of my favorite monsters out of the MM2. The Aurumvorax, very rare, thankfully. Armor class 0, 9-inch movement with a 3-inch hop, 12 hit dice, 1 attack, 2 to 8 damage, special attack see below, special defense see below, magic resistance thankfully is standard, it's animal intelligence, and it's small. The Aurumvorax, or Golden Gorger, is mean, vicious, and always hungry. It dwells in open or lightly forested areas. Despite its small, badger-like size, 1.5 feet tall, 3 foot long, and shape, it weighs over 500 pounds, as its flesh is very dense. When attacking, it scuttles forth from its burrow, locks its teeth onto its victim, and brings 2 to 8 of its clawed legs into play. Once it bites successfully for 2 to 8 points, the Aurumvorax holds on. In each succeeding round, it automatically inflicts 8 points of biting damage and has 2 to 8 additional claws, which inflict 1 to 6 points of damage when they hit. Dexterity of the opponents is negated for a computation of armor class in this case. Only death will unlock its jaws. The attack from a concealed den enables the monster to surprise 50% of the time. Due to its very dense and heavy hide and bones, the Aurumvorax takes only half damage from blunt weapons. It's immune to damage from small, normal fires. Large magical fires cause only half damage, and that would be quarter with a save. Poison and gases do not harm the monster at all. Prey dragged into the lair might have had treasure. The typical items could be mixed with bones and other remains of the meals. And Aurumvorax has a golden coat, often as shiny and bright as real gold. Its 8 legs are tipped with copper-colored claws. The creature has coppery teeth as well. Its whiskers and main guard hairs are a tawny bronze color. Its eyes are silvery with golden pupils. So basically, Aurumvorax, this guy seems to ingest gold. That's kind of what we've declared at my table. I realize that that's not called out here, but that's what we've said. Because of his golden color and his density and everything else, we made it that he actually eats gold pieces. So he'll eat the flesh, but he's also interested in the gold. Just something that we added. It's not official. This is completely my doing. But the idea of this guy jumping out of the hole, latching on with his teeth, dragging you back into the hole, and getting an additional 2 to 8 legs at 1 to 6 damage each. You get no dexterity, no shield, no kind of movement saving to your armor class at all. This guy is lethal. At 12 hit dice, half damage from fire, immune to poison. This guy is very hard to deal with. You can't just stand over his doorway and, put any kind of magical fog down the lair and expect to kill this guy. It's not bothered by it. So it's a really challenging monster. My buddy Craig loves the Aurumvorax too, so when he DMs, we very often encounter these guys. These are just little nasty Wolverine type creatures that come, and I don't mean the X-Man, I mean the actual Wolverine, that come at you and drag you into the lair and eat you. And as I said, we added in, just for the heck of it, that this guy also ingests the gold that you have on you and uses that to make his flesh more dense and his hide tougher and keep his gold coat shiny. It's just something that we added a little bit to the side. We've done a weaker version of this guy. Pyrite Virax I did once, just as like a 6 hit dice version of this. It's Pyrite is fool's gold. It looks like gold, but it's not. It's just Pyrite. So I did a weaker version of him, and I just basically halved everything. So instead of 6 hit dice, he had, or 12 hit dice, he had 6. Instead of armor class 0, he had armor class 3. Things like that. It's just a silly little monster I threw in one time at a lower level game. But that's all I've got to say today on page 121. Hope you enjoyed seeing my good friend the Aurumvorax and my old stamp from my old club days. It was kind of neat to see this old friend. I don't know. I was really surprised my wife still had it. I knew it was around the house somewhere, but I thought it was in storage with some of my other stuff. But that's all I've got to say today on page 121. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.